Okay lads, this is just a tactical session about the back line and how we can be operating on a 4-man swivel system and just how that gives us depth of cover with regards defensive stage when the ball is on either flank, either the left or right of our defensive unit. Okay, so what we can see is we've got roughly our 4-2-3-1. We've got the 2, the 5, the 6 and the 3. We've got the 4 and the 8 there, albeit the 8's drifted further forward because currently we've got the ball. The 7's fairly wide, the 11's fairly wide, the number 10's dropped into the hole there to try and help him out, and the number 9 has drifted. He could be there, but I stuck him there just to say that he's drifted out into a channel just to occupy a different space. Maybe the 10 can run in. Okay, so this is in open play and it's focusing on the defensive stage, so when we do not have the ball. Okay, so let's say there's a scissor there, the 8 loses the ball, yeah, and let's say immediately bang, it gets kicked out to this position there, yeah. So we know that this person can now run straight at the back 4, which previously is quite wide because we're in possession. So in possession we play wide and we create space, which is why there's a lot of room in between all the numbers across the back line there, yeah? But as soon as we lose possession, the back 4 need to be thinking, right, what's my position, okay? And it's been moved across to the right flank or our left-hand side, okay? So the 3 does need to engage the ball carrier there, and he needs to do so really in a way that if he's forcing him in any direction, generally he's forcing him down the line, okay? So the 3's going to engage and just stand him up. Obviously they might end up backtracking, which will mean the back line is going to have to backtrack also, yeah? But just initially the shape that we want is we want the 3 to engage on the ball, and these other 3 defenders, they've got to move across in this direction. They've got to move across to the strong side. So whenever the ball's on the right or the left, we call it the strong side, and that means we need numbers around the ball zone. So we always want numerical superiority around the ball zone, okay? So the 6 would come across, and they'd all actually come across. So straight away what we're doing is we're narrowing the gap between the right full-back and the centre-half, between both centre-backs, and between the left centre-back and the left full-back. So we need to tighten those gaps, okay? But we also need to provide defensive cover. So what they wouldn't do is they wouldn't line up literally in a line like this, because we've only got a single line cover there. If this red forward is good in a 1v1 situation, he skins the number 3, and then it's very difficult possibly for even the 6 to get across, and he's straight at us, okay? So what we need to do is we need to think about route to goal. The ball's there, straight line from the ball carrier to the goal is there. Okay, so the back line needs to stack up in almost such a fashion. The 6 would come across, he's the first covering defender to the 3. The 5 would offer additional depth, he's the second covering defender to the 3, so 1 and 2. And then the right back would also do that there. So you can see now that the back line is on almost a diagonal, not exactly in route to goal, because that's extreme, but it is a diagonal line from a central pivot point in between. It's an imaginary pivot point in between the 6 and the 5, the 2 centre halves, okay? So the same holds true if the ball comes across this way. So let's just say he stands him up and he pulls him back in this way. And let's say that the ball gets transferred across there. Now as it's doing that, the back line, they need to start coming over this way as well. They'd probably step up a little bit at that point. You'd probably get that. Let's say this ball comes across there, and then we'd probably go central, because the ball is relatively within this central strip of the field. And then let's say they've switched it, but let's say they've done that all really quickly, okay? Now same thing, the right back would engage the ball carrier, okay? Now that gap there, it needs closing down. So all the other 3 defenders, they would drift across, they'd just shuffle over. The 5 would come there, the 6 could come there, and the 3 could come there, yeah? So they're all pivoting this way and that way around that central pivot point in between the 2 centre halves, okay? So that really is when we're out of possession the way that we want. the back four to operate. Okay, and that holds true wherever the ball is necessarily. So let's just change. Let's just imagine the left back's got it. I guess there'd be pressure there. This man might show for the ball in for there. He might almost do the same. I just need to move everybody around. So let's say our back line at this point is pushed high up. We've just lost the ball. If we're in proper shape, we'd be something like that. Okay? But the same thing. So we lose the ball there, and he knocks it out to this player there. Okay? So the back line, it's not bad. We've almost got a flat back four. But what we would do is, he's gone past the 7, the 8 and the 4 can't get any pressure on, so the 2 might engage. I appreciate that we're very high up the field, but the same thing holds true. The gap there's too big, so a ball in there or a ball around there, and this player's away. Okay? So the number 2 engages, the number 5 shuts the distance between the 2 and the 5. The 6 also shuttles over to the strong side. So remember, this is the ball zone. We want most of our guys over this side of the field to bring it to the strong side. And then the 3 would line up probably like that. He might just taper off a little bit there in consideration of anything that's coming this way. Okay? But generally, he'll engage. We've got first defensive cover, second defensive cover, third defensive cover. So again, if he's good in 1-in-1s, there's always that line of cover before he's got route to goal. Okay? So if we can, let's try and line up on the diagonal with the right back, the centre halves and the left back, and then that just swaps and the pivot swings over. If it's on this side of the field, the position for the back four there.